All right, I have Brady Homer here. He is a science writer. He is a hell of a runner. He writes Physiologically Speaking, a Substack that I subscribe to and absolutely love. And in 2025, you ran the Boston Marathon. So that's what I want to talk to you about, because this coming weekend is the 130th running. It's going to happen on Monday, April the 20th. And so you ran it in 2025. What was the experience like?
Man, it was, I think I would say more than I expected in terms of the fanfare and it's a national holiday in the city of Boston for sure. I mean, they do shut down the whole city for it. It definitely exceeded my expectations. To be honest, I was never, I've been a runner my entire life. Running Boston was never something where I was on my running bucket list. But a bunch of friends and I qualified for it and we decided to run it together. All of our families went out there. So it was a huge, fun sort of family trip. And I was excited about it, but until I got there, I didn't really realize the scope of the Boston Marathon. And it was incredible. Not only, the race itself was obviously fun, but just the excitement around it, all of the history, all of the shopping, all of just the events, a ton of fun. And then the race itself was just, unlike anything I've ever experienced in a road race. It was people, fans 5 to 10 rows deep, basically the entire race. You were no quiet spots, never without people cheering for you. So it was just an incredible experience. Definitely something I want to do again. That was my first Boston, first and only one so far. But it was an incredible experience.
Okay, we're going to talk about why this race is significant among runners. I want to go through a list of factoids that I found and I liked. I'm probably going to throw some trivia at you as we go along. Okay, so number one, it is the oldest marathon in the country. It came in the year 1897. This was after the success of the very first Olympic marathon, which was held in 1896. Can you guess how many runners the very first Boston Marathon had?
Oh, gosh. Okay. So I want to say 50.
Less. It was 15.
Wow.
15. Can you guess the first place time?
For males?
We'll get to that because there was no women until the 1970s.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
1897, fastest time for Boston.
Yeah, I'm going to say 3.5 hours.
Actually faster. This surprised me. It was under 3. It was 2:55. Guy named John McDermott. Second place, 3 hours, 2 minutes. I was surprised at the speed at that point in time.
I am as well. Yeah.
They didn't have super shoes. They didn't have specialized gear. They were just hauling. That's pretty good.
They didn't have anything. No, and funny story about that. Quick aside. I know we're in middle of our trivia, but I actually interviewed the winner of the I believe it was 68 marathon, Amby Burfoot. So he was a writer for Runner's World, and we were talking about the history of the Boston Marathon. And he was telling me that when he ran it and when he won it, they didn't even have water stops. No water stops, no fuel. So he's I didn't drink anything. I didn't eat anything during the entire race. The only water stops that they had, people stood on the side of the road and basically sprayed hoses at them. So up until, who knows, probably the mid 70s, they didn't even have water stations at these marathons, which is just insane to think about because people would not even think about running a marathon these days without water or, a pocket full of energy gels.
And so they would just open their mouth and get water sprayed in?
I guess so, yeah, just a little spray of water. Awesome. Which actually you'd probably get more than those little cups that you get anyway. Those are so ineffective, it's terrible.
Yeah, and you're trying to run with them in your hand. What was his time? What year did he run it? What was his first place time?
He ran it in 68. I believe he won it with a 2:22.
That's moving. Especially in 1968.
Which is fast, but that won't even win the women's marathon today at Boston. So it's that's close to it's funny, it's close to what I ran last year in 2025. I ran a 2:24. So if you would think about it, I'd be close to winning the Boston Marathon when he ran it. And these days, 2:22 is kind of not even you're like a recreational amateur is running that time. So Things have changed for sure.
Next factoid. The first Boston Marathon was not actually 26.2 miles. It was 24.5 miles. Why? I don't know. I just found that interesting. Okay. Next factoid. Can you guess the age of the oldest finisher ever?
I want to say, I feel like that was recently, and think I saw something about that, but I'm going to say 85.
You nailed it. 85.
Okay.
A lady named Catherine, I'm going to say this last name wrong, Byers, Beiers. That was 2018. Her finishing time, honestly, why do we care at 85? But I'm just going to say it. It was 7 hours, 50 minutes, which is way faster than I would be able to finish that when I'm 85. But I'll also say last year, the year you ran it, there was a guy named Oscar Comaduran. He's from Chihuahua, Mexico. Age 81, he ran a sub 4.
That's absurd. Yeah.
358.
Very impressive.
358, 17 at 81 years old. I'll be honest, I don't even know if I could run a sub 4 right now.
Yeah, so Ed Whitlock, I believe is his name. He was the oldest person ever to break 3 hours in the marathon when he was 73 years old. He ran a 2:54 for the marathon. And then recently, so I think he's 85 now, or at least he was 85 when he ran this time, but he ran a 3:56 for the marathon at age 85. So pretty incredible there. The fact that, he could have qualified for Boston as an 18-year-old when he was 73 years old. Pretty remarkable.
I feel like your long-term running goal should be to beat his time when you were 75. That'll give you a long time horizon.
It's funny because I think about that a lot because I'm kind of at the stage in life where, I'm never going to be a professional athlete. And I really am trying to think of like the long game at this point. And it excites me to think about trying to sort of run those times. Like, how long can I run? So I'm 224 now. Can I run faster than that for like the next 5 to 10 years? But then, how long can I run a 230 marathon for? Long can I run a 240? It's fun that you can kind of start to set goals because most guys don't get faster as they age, but it's like, how can I still run fast and maintain my speed at these different ages? It becomes a different game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Not that I'm wishing, I don't want to be 70 years old. I'm happy being 33 right now. So not wishing that time away, but it's fun to think about doing that eventually someday.
I like it. So to go back to the point you made earlier, men's or women's, women were not allowed to run Boston until 1972. One, that surprised me. Two, we're going to give a shout out to a person named Catherine Switzer. So 1967, she signs up for the marathon under the alias KV Switzer. She starts off running the race. Obviously the only woman in the race. A race official actually tries to grab her and stop her. He manages to get a hold of her. She breaks free and she finishes the marathon. I think it was like a 4 something time. So very first woman to do the marathon illegally, I guess you would call it. Yeah,
there's like a very famous picture of the guy trying to get her off the course. It's pretty cool. But yeah, very interesting story there, and go her, right?
Yes. Go her. So you mentioned how there's people 10 deep for most of the race. How many people do you think watch the race, stand on the course and watch?
Gosh, it has to be. Okay, is this something you have a fact for? Because I'm very curious in the answer. Okay, gosh, I have to feel like it's like maybe I'm overdoing it. Whatever, 1 to 2 million.
You're overdoing it. It is 500,000, but in context, that is 80% of the population of Boston. Now, obviously, it's not everyone in Boston. It's coming to people from all around the world come, but that is a huge influx of people. You might have experienced this running, but this is a giant party day if you're not running in Boston. So the bars in Boston on Marathon Monday, which is a big holiday, beer sales jump 200% compared to other weekends. Vodka sales jump 370%, which I believe because when I was in college, I went to college outside of Boston, people would go into the city and it was just like a big day. And all my friends who were living in Boston during the marathon, they're like, that's the biggest party day of the year. Also, final fact, you can fact check me on this. I believe it's the hardest marathon to qualify for, right?
Actually, I think that the New York Marathon may be a little bit harder in terms of the time standards now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What's the qualifying time for New York?
It's actually faster than Boston. It's 2:53. So almost a little bit harder to get into New York than it is to Boston.
Holy crap. And Boston, the qualifying time for this year, 18 to 34 age group, which you fall under, is 2:55. For women, that's for men. For women, it is 3:25. You might know the pace off your top of your head. I don't know that pace. What is a 255? What does that relate to?
Oh gosh, that would be 255. I think that's somewhere around a 640 to 645 minutes per mile pace, and that's for the males. It's going to be harder for me to do the female conversion there, but and an interesting thing about that is that the qualifying time. So say the qualifying time, meaning you have to run this time to even have a chance to get in. That's a 255, but because of the amount of people signing up and the quality of the people signing up, you actually have to run faster than that. So the people who made it in this year, you had to run 4 minutes, about 4.5 minutes faster than the qualifying time. So that means if you're a male 18 to 35, you don't get in unless you ran a 251. So you qualified for the race with a 255, but you didn't actually get to run the race unless you ran a 251 because of the sheer number of applicants.
Can you imagine if you had spent years trying to qualify for Boston and you run a marathon in 254, whatever qualifying marathon, you're like, oh my God, this is it. I've accomplished this feat. I can't wait for Boston. And then you submit your application. They're like, nah, you're actually too slow because everyone else is faster than you.
It's funny because one of my friends, when he ran a 252 qualifying time. And so the cutoff, I think, was like a 252.30. So he got in by like a 30-second margin or something like that, which was pretty close. We were all happy about that. But it's kind of a bummer. And what do you say? Do you say that you were a Boston Marathon qualifier, or do you not? Like if you're somebody who ran, say a guy who ran a 253, but you didn't get in, do you say, oh, I qualified for the marathon? Because you didn't really get to race it.
Right.
So
what do you think this suggests?
Semantics, I guess.
What do you think this suggests for running? Is running becoming more popular, or are people just the training methods are better? What do you think?
I think it's a combination of both. I mean, it's certainly becoming more popular if you just look at the number of people applying for these marathons. I mean, 34,000. I think people applied for Boston in for the 2026 cycle. So just the number of applicants exploding, but obviously people are getting faster. I mean, if you have more people, you're obviously going to have a larger talent pool, but I just think people are putting in more time to train. There's technology. So I think, but technology is sort of still a level playing field at this point because people will say, oh, it's the shoes. Well, sure. So that kind of explains why the times are getting faster, but everybody is wearing super shoes these days. So you would think that would be kind of like a way to level the playing field. I think training methods are getting a little bit smarter. And people are just putting more time into it. I think they're just enjoying it. And marathoning is like it's kind of becoming like a status symbol recently almost. It's like your marathon time is, people will flaunt it, and wear their medals and wear their jackets. So I don't know. I don't know whether it's a running boom or a bubble that will eventually burst, probably. But right now it's just super popular. And I think people are training hard and putting a lot of time into it. So it's just people are getting faster across the board.